biggest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. We all live in a fragile world, and so we must learn to live in balance with the planet, because if we don't, then our time on this planet might be limited. Each time a piece of trash is thrown into the environment, a future filled with pollution and contamination approaches us quicker. What can we do? What can you do?
So being on the marsh quite a bit, we often find a lot of garbage on the marsh that floats up from Long Island Sound onto the marsh.
I think people are just unaware. If they were to get rid of recycling, there'd be garbage all over the streets of Connecticut. I mean, I know people that literally this is their second job, so to speak. You know, I see single moms that come in that, you know, that pays for the tank of gas. And even just this morning, I had a woman come in, a grandmother. She said, "I'm putting this towards my granddaughter's dance lessons." It would impact a lot of people's lives. You know, it's the guy that's down on his luck, or the single mom that needs a couple dollars to fill a gas tank, or, I mean, I see it every day. You know, if you're making $70,000, $80,000 a year, you don't care about the 5 cents. I got one guy, he comes in 3 times a week, and he lives off just recycling cans and bottles. On a good day, we would probably do about 100,000 bottles and cans through here. You saw the bags in the back, you know, that's not in the garbage. That's off to be recycled.
Recycling is very, very good. It's very important. We're running out of space to store all of our waste. We have to reduce the amount of solid waste that gets into the environment and affects the organisms that live there. And the solid waste breaks down and eventually, in some cases, makes very, very small pellets. And those pellets are pretty much all over both the ocean and on land. So when the tide comes in or we have a big storm, it was amazing just how much solid waste of all kinds, plastics, plastic bags, wood, containers of various sorts, wound up on the marsh. About a year ago or 2 years ago, the Connecticut Department of Environmental Protection had some money that was given to them from the federal government, and they actually went around and tried to clean up a lot of this stuff. University of New Haven, we've put in water fountains where you can fill refillable water jugs, and so that was reducing the amount of water bottles, clear plastic water bottles that were so prevalent for a while. And so we see fewer and fewer students having those bottles, but they have recycled bottles, and they just refill their water in these water fountains. So that's a small thing, but it's amazing how many bottles that will actually reduce with regards to them getting into the waste stream. The amount of stuff that we've recycled in the United States, like the last couple of years, is equivalent to the total amount of trash that was generated back in 1960. We're still generating a lot of waste. And so the future has to be reducing that waste stream. If you build more landfills, then you're taking away land that could be conserved as part of the natural environment or used for proper development and so on. Education, that's what you guys are for. As you guys get finished up in high school and move on to college and get into your professions, hopefully you'll be much more aware of this, and we'll talk to your friends and neighbors and make them aware of it.
My job basically focuses around recycling and just improving recycling in the residential and commercial and government sectors. Even when you are basically burning your waste and converting that into energy, there's a certain amount of greenhouse gas emissions that are created. When you are choosing to recycle, you're not, wasting non-renewable resources. You're also able to limit the emissions from that process that comes with burning the waste. There are still people out there who think that the recycling ends up in the same place as the trash. If you could really show people exactly what happens to their recycling, then I think they would be behind it. I think it's really important to recycle to kind of preserve the natural resources in Connecticut. So if tires are left because someone doesn't want to pay to dispose of their tires properly, then those chemicals can leach into the environment. It's depressing, and sometimes it can feel a little bit like, like there's nothing you can do, like hopeless, but that's why I think it's important just to continue to educate as many people as possible, and especially in the younger generation. It's hard to find people who are willing to actually go out and go through these, habitats and remove the trash that's been put there. I think that recycling is important because recycling is how we can reduce our consumption of natural resources. I think everything that we do where we're consuming products, it can have an impact on the oceans. Recycling isn't a new thing that you have to do. It's something that's a part of your everyday life.
We want to have a clean environment.
It's a beautiful place, and we want to keep it that way for future generations.
Come on, Mother Earth, man, come on. We only have one Earth.